Hey there, people. This is True Outlaw Patriot coming at you again. This time, got some interesting stuff here concerning all these wildfires that everybody keeps deeming popping up because of climate change. I don't typically like using this outlet for any kind of information. Democracy Now! I think they're very biased, but I just need them um, to show a point that something I'm trying to point out here for this video. And trust me, they're definitely nothing about democracy, but that's besides the point. Don't forget, if you like what you see, comment, like, subscribe, give it a thumbs up. But I just want you to pay attention to the way these people keep pushing out the climate change agenda for all these wildfires. But here we go.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. We end today's show in Canada, where troops are now being mobilized to fight huge wildfires across Canada as it faces its worst wildfire season on record. British Columbia has declared a provincial state of emergency. Evacuation orders are in place for more than 35,000 people. For more, we go to Chilliwack.
I hate to stop it so soon, but it's kind of disturbing looking at this picture right here. This is from Canada, and is reminiscent of Maui. It's eerily similar. Why they took this kind of video footage from this angle is beyond me. It's just too strange. But anyway, let's continue.
Or we go to Chilliwack, British Columbia, for an update. We're joined by Bob Gray, wildland fire ecologist, 45-year veteran of fire suppression, prescribed burning, and research management in Canada, the U.S., and overseas. Welcome to Democracy Now!, Bob Gray. It's great to have you with us, but under very bad circumstances. Can you explain what's happening right now in British Columbia and then the Northwest Territories and across Canada?
Sure. Good morning, Amy. I'll start here with British Columbia. We're in the midst of our record fire season as far as area burned. It's also been a very catastrophic fire season. Across Canada, we've had 5 firefighters have been killed. Now we're at about 1.7 million hectares burned. That's 4.2 million acres. Last record we had was only 5 years ago, and that was 1.3 million hectares. So we're on a bit of an upward trajectory as far as burned area. Leading up to this, we had a drought last summer, extended well into the fall and winter, below normal snowpack in some places, normal in others, but it came off very quickly. And the fires started in June and have just not abated. We're looking at a little bit of a change in weather today, but winds are coming in once again. Chance of some precip, so at the tail end of Hurricane Hillary extending as far north. And then we're back into hot, dry again, which will be preceded by winds once again. So it's challenging firefighters. We don't have a large firefighting workforce across Canada. We rely on provincial and territorial firefighters and contractors. This year, luckily, we've been able to pull in resources from the U.S. and overseas. The U.S. firefighters are especially very helpful because they've worked in these ecosystems before. So. Just it's a long, drawn-out battle, and it's not over. We have another probably 2 months of fire season to go, and a lot of.
Now, with everything he said right now, not too long ago, in Canadian Parliament, I guess they get it. That's what they call it. I mean, the parties are debating and arguing and stuff like that, and Trudeau was asked about how come he's not doing more to battle these fires. So, I mean, their argument and debate went back and forth, and it just makes me wonder, like, what exactly is he doing to put out these fires? And the reason why I say that is because it's funny how these wildfires in Canada have just stirred up, and, I mean, they're just rampant, and just like in Maui and in other places, like California, a lot of people are talking and saying that not enough is being done, or from what they could tell, these are from people on the ground. And earlier today, I believe, or yesterday, the governor of Maui, of Hawaii, was telling people not to listen to what's on social media. You know, don't listen to the people that are on the ground. You know, technology is it's the powers that be. It's their worst enemy, because you know they probably thought that nobody will be the wiser. But you know, in the age of technology, everybody's got a cell phone. People get to record, and within a matter of seconds, you know, it's on the web, and that's it. But let's continue a little more. There's some other stuff I need to show you.
A lot of folks are on evacuation, about 150,000 across Canada. We've got probably 30, 40,000 here in BC, and another 30 or 40,000 on evacuation alert. And these winds coming up today and tomorrow, we'll test that once again.
Bob Gray, if you can talk about the links between this record-breaking rage of wildfires, if you will, and its connection to climate change, to the...
Okay, and that's where I'm going to end this right here, because there we go already with climate change. Okay. Now, this is what the video is about, so I need everybody to pay attention, because there's some stuff I need to show you. The way the weather has been lately, it's been hot all over. All over. And they keep blaming it on climate change, climate change, climate change. But there's something I need to show you. Okay. Right now in New York City, it's 87 degrees. It's Monday, August 21st. Now, I remember growing up as a kid, we've had heavy winters, we had really hot summers, we had decent springs. It was great. One of the things my father always used to buy, and I always followed his footsteps whenever anybody talked about climate change, Armageddon, stuff like that, because people look at the weather and they think every little thing, they think the world's coming to an end. Okay, so this is August 21st, 2023, New York City. Okay, you go back to 1923. Okay, the highest temperature in New York on July 20th was 99 degrees. You go back to the highest temperatures in New York City in 1923, which is 100 years ago. The almanacs, if you want to look at temperatures for the past 100, 200 years, this is how farmers, it's called the Farmer's Almanac, how they would document the weather for crops and seasons and stuff like that. So if you look at from June all the way up to July, August is just one day here. August 5th of 2023 was 92 degrees. So you have from June 6th, 91 degrees, all the way to July 20th, 99 degrees. In August, 92 degrees. But it fluctuates. This is 100 years ago. 100 years ago, they weren't talking about climate change. They weren't. So if you want to go back to 1823, you can. And I guarantee you that you'll find something similar. And the reason why I say New York, people say, well, that's not Canada. Yeah, I know that. But they're not that far apart either. But the weather has been hot in Canada, in New York, in other places, California, Arkansas, Florida. It's hot all over. This is the way the planet works. But everybody rather blame it on climate change and have this whole climate change agenda and have half the population, especially in the U.S., lose their damn minds and attack people over it. And then you got people like John Kerry, who's flying around the world in his own private jet, wasting, per year, probably tens of thousands of gallons of jet fuel, adding to the so-called climate change. And yet nobody talks about that. But yet nobody has the foresight or the knowledge to say, let me go back and see what the weather was like 100 years ago. So I'm using that right there, for a reason. Now, I mentioned in one of my other videos that I was very suspect about these fires in Canada. Now, it took me a little while, but I finally found the video that I've been trying to tell people about. Now, it's just my opinion. Everybody else can, figure it out the way they want to. But there was a group of meteorologists who were looking at the weather reports in Canada when all these fire started a couple of months ago, and they noticed a weird anomaly from their satellite images. And not that many people talk about it. People are actually scared to talk about it, because right away you'll sound like a conspiracy. So I found the video. Now I'll play the video. I'm doing real time, so I don't have to keep cutting and editing. But this video right here is the satellite image. It's only a minute 3 over Canada. I'm going to press play, and I'm going to pause it, and I want everybody here to see and think. Now, if you look at this swirl right here, that one there, that one there, that one there, there, and over here, I'm going to start the video, and then I'm going to pause it, and you're going to see. Now that's the wind shear. There are the fires that start up all together. Okay? Now it's safe to say, you know what? The wind was blowing, all these fires started. But does anybody see all these little red dots over here? Watch this. Did you catch that? Down here to your left. Let's play it again. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Simultaneously, they all started. Watch it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. They all started. Now, mind you, people could look at this satellite video, and say, well, all this wind shear up here started these fires. No, when the satellite looks down, it's looking down in layers. These clouds and all that wind, it's way above, miles above the ground. How in the world did all these fires start simultaneously? Now this is pick for pick. This is frame by frame. This is 1 second, second and a half second, 2 seconds. This is not edited. This is the way it's being filmed. The reason why the video is only a minute 3 is because that's what they recorded. They were recording everything, looking at weather patterns, and that's how they do it in the the weather stations. They look at everything, and then they could tell you, by this time this storm's going to reach here. By that time it's going to reach there. Whether it's a tornado, whether it's a rainstorm, whether it's a snow blizzard, whatever it is, they know exactly. Especially with tornadoes, they will pinpoint and tell you, if you are 5 miles away, it's going to take 15 seconds for that tornado to reach where you're at. You need to get out. That's how they do it. So they go second by second, frame by frame. And this is what came up, and this is over Canada. They got it on loop because they're trying to show this. Now the guys that recorded this brought it up. They said it, and it's been silent on YouTube. You can barely find it. Okay? Now, I'm not saying it was deliberate, but it just looks a little too suspicious the way all these fires started at the same time. Now one will say, you know what? If these big flames started up here, maybe they blew those flames there, maybe those little ones started over here. That's all fine. But for these to start all of a sudden in different areas, in my opinion, is suspect. Now I know people thinking, oh, you're letting this get to you and this and that. It's climate change. Everybody's going to keep saying it because the weather's been hot. Yes, it's a possibility. But I showed you what the weather was 100 years ago in New York alone. It was hot. And that's what we're averaging right now 100 years later. That's what happens. This whole climate change agenda, when people keep pushing it, especially like platforms like Democracy Now!, that's all they keep doing. And putting this fear into everybody. But yet then when we have a harsh winter and it's cold, people say, oh my God, that's crazy. I went to visit Arkansas a couple of years ago. And I stayed for the winter. And the snow came down. It was a blizzard. It snowed. Little Rock had over a foot of snow. And speaking to the locals, my next door neighbor at the time, when we was outside, just trying to get rid of all the snow, he looked at me and he goes, it's your fault. He goes, you came here. He goes, we got a blizzard. I said, well, I mean, that's what happens. He goes, no. He said, we haven't had a blizzard or any kind of snow in 25 years. And this was in Arkansas 2 years ago. So you see how things change? Now I'm being told in Arkansas that they're in the middle of a heat wave. So this whole climate change thing, is it a hoax? In my opinion, yes, it is. Do I think the planet is changing? Of course. It's got to change. It's a living body. It's a living being. It knows what it's doing. Now, I know some people also are going to say, you know what? You're putting out disinformation. No, I'm not. I'm putting out my opinion. You know? If the Native Americans, you know, were here 10,000 years ago and they're still here, which they are, what do you think they dealt with? I mean, people talk about that at one time the Middle East was all green. Now it's all a desert. Was that climate change? Supposedly it happened thousands of years ago. So was there climate change thousands of years ago? I guess you can say there was, if you use it in the sense that the climate is changing. But the way they're pushing it now is that it's a bad thing. Everybody's going to die. The world's going to burn up or freeze to death or explode. We need to cut this. We need to go to a Green Deal. We need to stop using gas. We need to stop using gasoline. We need to put everybody on lockdown. We need to stop eating red meat. We need to stop having cows because they're farting too damn much and it's causing more carbon monoxide in the air. And it goes on and on and on and on. But yet, when you have a bad fire in places like Hawaii, and you have officials shutting off their water supply, what do you expect is going to happen if they can't tackle it? Humans have been on this planet way too long, and God made no mistakes when he made this planet. Remember, he created the planet first to sustain us, not for us to try to control the weather and tell everybody how to live to control the weather. What to drink, what to eat, when to sleep, when to wake up, how much to work, what I can drive, what I can do. No. What people need to do, since all these things are happening around the world, maybe every country, every state, people need to start taking care of themselves and saying, you know what? Let's forget about what's going on outside of our areas and take care of what's going on inside of our areas. And maybe we'll have some extra damn money to take care of the people. Have some extra money to get rid of fires like this. Now, I know that sounds kind of harsh because other places, you know, they don't have the resources, but they'll get the outside help. But when you have people in power that are pushing an agenda and putting fear into people, where everybody thinks they need to shut another side of the platform out because we don't agree with what's going on with certain things, and then you have people like on Democracy Now! Just waiting to use those words, climate change. Do the wildfires have anything to do with climate change? No, the planet is doing what it's always done, what it was intended to do. It's like when the human body, you won't get sick for a few years. You put so much pressure on your body, then all of a sudden you get a bug, and it knocks you down for 3 days. Your body is shutting down to reboot itself. But if I had to guess, like I said, and it's just my opinion, there are too many fires that look suspicious. And I'll leave it at that. I'm True Outlaw Patriot. I hope you like what you've seen. Please comment, like, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, pass it around. And pray for everybody in Maui. California just got hit with a bad storm, and supposedly they had an earthquake also. Pray for the people in Canada. And as always, stay vigilant, keep praying, and keep praying for each other. Peace.